up that JuRY solo tight, hard. Hold on. Oh. Wait, you didn't start the show, did you?
No.
Oh, are you recording?
Yes.
If you're recording, then we'll just keep going.
I'm recording.
Hey! Welcome to the show! It's Tuesday night. Welcome to a very special litigious version of Great Night, bringing you the best of the worst of the internet ever since a very long time ago, and now it actually has been a very long time ago.
It has been.
Yeah, we time traveled all the way to here.
Yeah.
I'm Brian Brushwood. This is Justin Robert Young.
Hi.
When last our intrepid inventors, I don't know how we're going to invent our way out of this one. Justin was impaneled in a jury.
Yeah.
And you were thrilled. You said, I love my civic duty. I love commuting. I love everything.
All right. Do we want to start? We start at the beginning.
Yeah.
Do you want to walk through?
Yeah. Okay, I guarantee you, we know for sure at least one person, it's their very first time watching the show.
Yes. Yes. Oh, yeah. People from the jury are watching. Or they told me they were going to watch.
Yeah.
The hell is...
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
That's not great.
What is that?
That's a power. That's the UPS screaming because we're drawing too much power. That's how the man is trying to shut us down. By the way, Ryer, you can feel free to switch the cameras I'll
switch you.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start from the beginning.
Yes.
Monday, I get the alert that I am going to jury selection. And so go to the Travis County Courthouse and I get assigned. I think I talked about this last week.
Yeah.
I get picked even though I have a late number. In fact, I am the last active juror.
They had to go
selected.
through like 3 jurors for every slot just to get to you.
Just to get to me.
Yeah.
And the person who literally was sitting after me, who may be watching right now, what's up, dude? He was the first alternate. So I was the last juror that was selected.
So does the alternate have to sit through the whole
thing, but he got to leave early Friday.
Because it didn't.
He didn't have to deliberate.
Like everyone's gonna like somebody didn't have a stroke right before the deciding phase,
and he got to deuces.
Oh man,
hit the bricks.
That's a MTV fact. When you're an alternate, when you're an alternate, that's the way to be. Deuces, bro. All right, now back to the show.
So the case is as follows.
Yeah.
And I'll be unbiased until we need to be.
Until comedically it will be most appropriate.
Better, yeah.
Okay.
I'll be unbiased. So there's a woman. I think it's safe to say it's more sympathetic that she is a divorcee. She lives alone.
Okay. R.L. Stein.
Little
Ariella Stein. Ariel Stein.
Every time they said it in the court,
I live alone. Wait, did they mention that she lives alone?
Yeah. Part of the case.
Smoking a poorly rolled blunt in her hot tub. This divorcee lives alone.
So she lives alone in a very rich neighborhood in Austin that has these amazing views. They look onto the Colorado River comes through Austin, but it's been dammed up. So there are essentially different versions of creeks and lakes. And so this is one of the most scenic. She all of a sudden has next door, her land is now purchased. The plot next door.
She had been enjoying the view that came with the unoccupied, unsold plot of land next to hers. Couldn't be bothered to buy it.
She investigated buying it at some point, never did.
Mm-hmm.
And as we found out later, Jesus.
No, I'm telling you, they're coming for you. That's the electricity getting too high on this story. High voltage story, high stakes, high drama, high times.
So the reason why it was empty was because it was very, very steep. So in these very rich neighborhoods, there's not a lot of like good plots of land to develop on at this stage in the game. So you have to start developing on the ones that were less than ideal. This one had a very steep gradient. I guess everyone just assumed it would never be developed, and then it was all of a sudden purchased and developed on. But to do that, they could either, as we were explained, lay a foundation that is very high.
Yeah, that's a lot of concrete.
Yeah.
Concrete's expensive. Plus, they lost the recipe once.
It's a concrete?
Yeah. Did you
Really?
know? Yeah, that's a
No.
real thing. Yeah, the Romans were like, oh, fuck, we had it.
Oh, back in the day. Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
They're like, we used to be able to make this shit all the time.
They were
Where's
too
Doug?
busy. They were too busy telling stories about sucking a wolf's titty, and they were like, "Wait a minute, you remember the concrete, right?"
I mean,
He's like,
I thought you remembered the
"Oh, it's
concrete.
fuckus."
Wasn't the secret ingredient love
I think so.
or ash?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're getting conquered by the Visigoths.
It was getting fat and bread and circus. That's what it was.
That's it.
The missing ingredient was bread and circus.
and circus.
Okay, so lady living alone, minding her own beeswax, enjoying the view.
Yeah. She wasn't really enjoying the view because this was next to her on the road that both looked out had the same view, right? But she certainly got to enjoy that there was a buffer between her and the next gigantic house,
Right.
Until they buy this land, and all of a sudden, not only are they going to build a very big house,
It's a high voltage story,
voltage
man.
story.
It's
the
electrifying.
better this gets, the more electricity it needs.
Yeah.
I'm going to power through it,
No, this guy, so to speak.
so to speak.
You know what? I'm going to walk over and press mute on this because that's a
Gotcha.
thing that was always allowed.
Okay.
You know what? I'm just gonna threaten. I'm just gonna threaten to press mute. I'm gonna press mute. It's a high voltage story, Justin. It's a high wire act.
So she to build the house, they don't want to do the concrete, they want to chip into the rock, the limestone. So
Excavation.
it can be level with the foundation, and it basically would mean that there'd be a walkout basement. So you would be parking when you pulled into your home on the first floor, or then there would be a basement that would actually be into the mountain.
Or maybe Joe can go hit the mute button so the host doesn't have to leave.
If he knows where the mute button is.
It's the one labeled mute on the thing that's screaming at you. In this high wire, high voltage
it's gonna
extravaganza.
be so funny when the stream ends now.
And it's not muting. That says mute.
Oh,
Yep,
it was a
you're
fake
probably,
button.
You're clicking the other one.
Is it
Like
fake?
the other one. There's another UPS. Is that the one that was screaming?
Yes.
Okay.
He's got
What?
yeah.
It's got a mind of its own.
It does. So chipping into the rock takes a long time, and it's very noisy, and it takes years. Like, she is dealing with the construction of this house for, I would say, roughly 2.5 years.
And the limestone everywhere. You can also turn off the monitor up top that's drawing power, or unplug the monitor. That would reduce the high voltage
Yes.
from this high wire electricity act. Well, now I kind of miss it. It was
Yeah, I know.
that was a good bit.
It was really the defining element of the show.
It was the first recurring character of the evening.
Now I don't feel as mad about it.
No, I mean, it was
feel
kind of
like-
cute.
No. Now I don't feel as mad about the thing.
Oh, now there's a new
I
villain.
feel like it's totally taking the fucking piss out
Oh,
of this story.
no, that's just foreshadowing for how mad you're gonna get.
All right. So
And by the way, the limestone in Austin is no joke to develop on it. There was a hot minute that I thought this property had foundation problems.
Yeah.
Because I was noticing cracks. It turns out that the cracks were just because of the type of rock and paint that they used. It wasn't the house settling or shifting.
Gotcha.
Because when the foundation guy came out, he was like, you do know all of this is on limestone. It's not possible.
it's never gonna move.
Yeah, you could
at
go.
all.
You could go 4 inches down, and you're on bedrock.
Yeah. So she's very, very mad on 3 reasons. Number one, she believes that the crew that was building the house was working outside of approved hours that was agreed upon by the homeowners
What were the
association.
approved hours?
I believe it was 7 to 5 on weekdays or 7 to 6 on weekdays and then 8 to 5, I believe, on Saturday. No working on Sunday.
Oh, I didn't know. So, and that's HOA
That's
stuff.
HOA rules.
Okay, so I guess the penalty for violating HOA stuff would not be that you would get arrested.
No.
But it would be that you could get sued exactly like this.
So the contractor said that he had to put in like $10,000 to the HOA before he started that they could fine from out of there at the HOA's discretion. That's the way that HOA works, is that you have to put in the money that they can then deduct.
You have to pre-deal
Yes.
your own penalties because there's like, well, I mean, just no traffic infraction. Wouldn't that be it? Welcome to our town. Please give us $1,000. Why? You might commit a moving violation, and we want to have the money.
Have it ready.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, that's pretty strict.
exactly. She does not believe that they are paying attention to it. And she keeps saying that she's seeing headlights in the morning. It's shining into her.
So she's got a beef with the
bedroom.
HOA. She doesn't have a beef with this contractor.
You want to know what? You want to know what? I agree. I agree. She has a beef with the HOA. Why am I here? I said repeatedly over and over and over
so,
again.
All right. So she's got to be.
Also, wait, no, I wasn't done with what she's mad about.
Okay.
She's mad about they're working outside of hours.
Yeah.
Trespassing.
Okay. Now, trespassing. Last time I checked, that is a criminal offense. That is a law.
Yep.
It is against the law to
No
trespass.
matter what the HOA is, if somebody comes sneaking across the border
Yeah,
of your property,
Right.
you could have them arrested for trespassing.
Well, yes, and but you don't get to say, "I saw you. Please write me a check." Do you?
Well, that's not what she was alleging.
Oh. What was she was alleging?
Trespassing.
What? So what? What?
So you would assume when I say trespassing, how would you describe trespassing?
Trespassing is somebody is walking on your territory, but in that case, you call the cops, and the cops take you to jail or something.
Sure, yeah. That didn't happen.
But
She's not alleging that.
okay.
Yeah.
But what is she alleging? I just realized I know all the wrong ways to answer this question.
Well, trespassing, obviously. If you're this woman.
Okay, but you're saying that that nobody walked on her property.
No.
She says.
And that was not even alleged. She was not even making that claim.
Well, what did she allege then?
Dust.
Go on. Okay.
Oh, and music. They trespassed from the job
On her
site
peace of mind.
onto her property, and she put a picture into evidence where, I shit you not, she wiped her glass table to demonstrate how dusty it was. And when I tell you that it would be like during cedar season, you just swiping your finger over your windshield
Yep.
before you hit the wipers,
Yep.
it was less than that.
Yeah. Okay. So
And music.
okay.
They
Well,
were playing music.
I'm guessing Tejano music.
You
Probably.
want to know what? And I figured something out because I kept making jokes in the jury room about like how this was really a thing about how ranchero music trespassed over into the other yard, and I
Right.
found out those are California Mexicans. Texas Mexicans like Tejano music.
I don't know the difference between ranchero and Tejano.
Me either.
Is it an accordion or
I think the accordion.
Yeah.
The accordion's ranchero.
which one has the?
Both, assumedly.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That is what binds and unites them.
Yeah. Well, okay. Now, in fairness, if somebody blasted dust, number one, I'd make sure that I got very good evidence to submit. I would not. I would get a good cinematographer to set up that shot, frame it.
How much
That's
would-
an MTV tip. Frame your shot.
How much would you imagine that dust would need to exist for you to sue over it? For you to get dust on stuff?
I don't know. See, I don't know how much brinksmanship happens in this Game of Thrones where they're like ladling on extra bullshit just to make it scarier, because all of this stuff, they're all just threaten each other with a pissing contest because they want somebody to write a check. They don't usually want to go to trial.
No, these people wanted to go to trial.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is sounding dumber by the second.
Well,
the only
'cause-
thing dumber would be if other people who were minding their own business were compelled by law enforcement to listen to this bullshit.
Yeah. Oh, no. I mean, because like at a certain point, they both believed very, very, very much that the other one was totally ridiculous and that they would win a jury trial handily. And so they both spent more money than either one of them was alleging either one cost them.
Okay, they were both countersuing.
I don't know if they were countersuing. We were only hearing one side. So they might be countersuing. I have no idea.
Okay.
I do know that the woman was asking for at baseline around $50,000, and the general contractor, the owner who helped the general contractor buy the land, and the construction company that was all tied together in this lawsuit spent that amount of money on one expert witness. That testified at the trial and said how much he was paid. And he's like, yes, I got $50,000, which is what that woman was asking for to begin with. And
As a prophylactic measure to keep her from getting that money.
Well, here we're going to get to the most serious stuff. She does allege that there were damages to her house.
Okay. All right. Now, I'm not going to say that it's look, I mean, I might sue someone if dust got on my shit and you know what? I sue them for bad taste. Where's my old school hip hop music?
By the way, I just want one of the funniest parts of the trial. This is in closing arguments, and so the general contractor's lawyers go first, and then the owner's lawyers go, and then it's the construction company's lawyers, and everybody has been stoic the entire trial. Nobody has cracked at all, and then the construction company's lawyers go, this is really just a case because this woman hates Mexican music. And you have never seen I'm going to assume her voter profile because she's a divorcee from Napa who bought a house in Austin. But I'm going to assume that she is a good liberal woman, and you have never seen her and her lawyer explode like when somebody made an assumption that she was racist. Like as soon as he
Explode
said
with rage or laughter? Harumph, I say.
Nobody says that. I love Tejano music. It was just the funniest. It was like an electroshock went through both of their feet, and they both stood up, and they're like, oh,
that is a cheap pop, though.
It was. It was great. It was very funny. Very, very funny. So yeah, she says that there were damages. She says that her columns, she has two columns that are on the porch on her side, on the job site side of her house. That do, by way of pictures, have gigantic cracks in them.
Okay.
And then she also says,
now wait a minute. Were they moving some stuff and they banged into it, or
vibrations, Brian?
No. Did she really?
Vibrations.
She was suing over bad vibes?
Bad fucking vibes, dude.
Like the vibes were one way and then there was a vibe shift?
Oh,
big
time.
The first lawsuit about the vibe shift?
And that one of the pipes underneath her house was cracked and had to be replaced. And they got a local plumbing company that dug through her foundation to remove the pipe. That alone cost $35,000.
Wait, okay, but is there any evidence? How on earth could the vibe shift cause the pipe split?
Aha! And now we get to the first big question of the trial because they both bring expert witnesses. One of them, for the plaintiff,
An expert in vibology, Paula Abdul. Straight up now, Your Honor. Tell me.
no, they brought the lo-fi beats to chill and study to girl who just slowly did her homework with her cat in the background. So the plaintiff brought their first expert witness, and he said the following: I don't know what did any of this, and no one can know what did any of this. Any assumption of how any of this was made is total speculation based on information that nobody has and nobody will ever have. Also, nothing has changed the foundation. Nothing has changed. She also alleged that there were damage in her pool house. Nothing was damaged there. However, I can say that it is theoretically possible that the vibrations cracked the columns and cracked the plumbing. That was their expert witness that they brought in to prove their case.
So, okay. Justin.
Yeah.
What were they thinking? How were they hoping this would go?
The way that they kept framing it was fuck rich fat cats, am I right? All these rich people.
Really?
Just over there. Oh, this general contractor. Money, 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 money. I buy the property. $3 million for the property. They don't care. They're just here for the money. And then all of a sudden they start building this house and they're like, fuck everybody else. We're not going to live here. This is a spec house. We're building it for somebody else. We don't give a shit, woman. We're here for the cash. The Skrilla. And meanwhile, this poor woman, I just want to sleep. And they're like, fuck you, jerkhammer.
Okay, all right. Hold on.
I'll tell you what, this poor woman, Brian, she had a pool party.
Yes.
Ask me how many people were at the pool party.
How many people?
2 people. It was a pool party of 2 people, and all of a sudden they hear loud noises. And one of the people that's there for the pool party, by one of the people, I mean the only other person aside from the plaintiff, gets up and looks over the fence, and she sees that they have one of those big, heavy machines, and it's just scraping on the ground,
During a
trying to
pool party.
maliciously ruin their pool party.
Now, I assume they had evidence of this. Somebody had a cell phone and they got video of this.
They had her friend. She
they-
said she saw it. It was rubbing, malicious rubbing. Malicious ground rubbing
right.
that was there to ruin the pool party of 2 people.
Okay.
2 people were having a part. I don't know how.
It's more bad vibes. A lot of bad
Very
vibes.
bad vibes. But they don't give a fuck, man. They don't give a shit. They're just thinking, how much money can we make ruining this pool party? Oh, buku bucks for us. And then, after they're done drilling into the side of the limestone, after they're done ruining the pool party, after they're playing their malicious Tejano music, after there are 2 mystery dicks that apparently were peeing on the property line and the woman saw, but she can't say when she saw it or what happened, and she can't prove that there weren't porta potties, but she says she saw 2 dicks. 2 dicks, Brian. Malicious, money-grabbing dicks.
Okay, I know. Okay, here's the problem,
Yeah.
Justin. You are legitimately angry.
Yes.
But you're also telling a story in which the character should be mock angry. But for
This
the
was
last
their
5
literal case.
I know, but I'm talking about the comedy show we're doing right now. You're just actually angrily yelling at me. And
Oh, no,
there's-
am I not selling
there's
you?
no-
Am I not selling you on this?
Oh no, I know that you're angry. I'm trying to find the funny, and the meta layer
I'm
is
trying to
is,
convince you that that's a compelling case. Is it not effective?
well, since we're doing a comedy show, what you should be doing is poorly attempting to convince me of the case, not actually being as angry as you clearly are, because it sounds it sounds like she was dipshit angry, but you, Justin Robert Young, are actually angry for having done the case, and I'm looking for the comedy layer that I could join in.
I lead the way.
Oh no. I'm just saying I'm shrinking because it sounds like it was really frustrating for you, and it sounds like their case was dipshittery, and I assume that they did not win.
No.
Yeah. So what was that like? Like, are you allowed to cheer from the jury box, or or boo, or like? At what point did you realize that or are you even allowed to say how you voted?
Well, yeah. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, like, she didn't make any money.
How quick did you?
It took a very long time.
To,
It took most of the afternoon. Yeah.
to deliberate. So there were some people who
No,
was it like
just
12 Angry Men? What was that like?
It was just a bunch of people that were like looking for more information and stuff, and yeah, it just took, I don't know. People were like very concerned about what their vote was going to be, which I didn't really understand, because like, what are we talking about here?
Did you feel like?
But they were like very concerned. There were like 2 or 3 people that were like very concerned about setting case law, and they wanted to take it very, very seriously.
So they felt like,
which I don't like. I don't hate that. Like, I mean, like well, I hated it then because I wanted to leave, but before 5, because if we went meaningfully after 5, then we would have been kept for Monday.
now, okay, so if you had been kept for Monday, I have to imagine that it's like at that point, like it's not like you're going to show up Monday morning and just do 15 more minutes and then call it a day. I would imagine that somebody would make up reasons to go even longer.
I mean, I have no idea. We didn't go to Monday, so I don't know what would have happened if we went to Monday. But we we deliberated from like I think they rested at like 12:30, and then we went till like we were like answering the last question on the orders that we had to, or the charges that we had to answer for. We were like getting our votes in line at 5 when the judge was like, how close are you?
Now, I thought all the deliberations don't have to be secret. I guess this is, I don't know. I for some reason I always thought that like it had to be a secret, but I guess not. Like, was anybody? Nobody was for the plaintiff. It doesn't sound like.
Some people were, but you needed 10 out of the 12 to agree. And so there was never really any more than 3 people that agreed, because really we weren't finding for the plaintiff. We were finding whether or not, based on these specific questions, the 3 defendants, the owner or the guy who put up the money for the property, the general contractor who put up half the money for the property and actually did all the work, and then the subcontractor that drilled into the side of the mountain, we were deciding whether or not each of them were liable.
So, that's interesting.
And so really it was like the only question was separately, we had to answer those charges for each of them separately, whether or not the one or one of them was liable for it. And we never really got more than 3. There were like a few people that were like, oh yeah, the construction company definitely behaved in a way that they weren't supposed to, but they were never close to 10. And so it was just a matter of like, once you're at like, 3 people, so you're not there enough that you can shut it down, but it's only by like one person's vote, then eventually they kind of realize like, all right.
So the people who were not on board were they just bull riding? Like they just wanted to, I mean, was anybody like having a good time being important on a jury, or?
I would submit yes.
At this point, it's the trial of the jury.
I think that there were some people. Look, I live a life that is far more ego satiated than the average person. And by that, I mean, I talk and people listen to me for a living, right?
Right.
A lot of people, the vast majority of humans go through their lives and like, you're in a structure that is designed to minimize your own personal voice. And for me, because I'm a narcissist, I have the ability to talk for a living and have people listen to me. And I've realized in that moment that that's a gift. Because I didn't have to rely on this scenario where all of a sudden my voice was very important relative to where it would be otherwise. In fact, it was meaningfully less important than it normally is. I wasn't able to speak to my audience. I wasn't able to produce the kind of stuff that I wanted. And so my biggest issue was leaving. And my decision was made based on the fact that I did not believe that there was a preponderance of evidence to prove this woman's case.
Right.
And I wanted to leave
So
as soon as possible. And then as soon as we got to the end and I found out that there wasn't like a gigantic contingent of people that were like, oh my God, this woman was wronged and we need to give her a lot of money. It was just a bunch of people that were like, I think they might have done it. And I was like, okay, we need to,
yeah.
let's get
So,
going.
so at that point, like if you got folks who are there for the adventure of the civic duty extravaganza, do you talk them out of being into it, or do you let them get it out of their system, or what? Like, if your goal is, look, we all know we're not going to award a bunch of money. Let's wrap it up as fast as possible. What do you
first
start
you
to
have
formulate?
to find that out,
Yeah.
right? And the biggest thing that I was pushing for was that we not have a lot of conversation. We don't have a podcast
Right,
about the case.
right,
Let's take votes. Let's see where we are vote-wise. We all watch this for a week.
yep,
We're all supposed to be bringing our own opinion. We shouldn't be homogenizing our opinion.
Right.
So let's vote on each of these things. And then based on the votes, we can find out which things we need to talk about, as opposed to just everybody going around and sharing their feelings about the case and what you do like and what you didn't like and who is cute and who is not cute and whether or not you like Tejana music. And so that was my main advocacy position, was let's just take more votes. When we're not voting, somebody should be saying where's
the voting? Yeah. So the did you feel like was there a moment where it's like finally we got this fuck, they want to do another lap, or was there steady progress towards a resolution?
As soon as we got to voting on things, we started to carve out where we were. And then past that, it would only get stopped up when we would get to another question and someone would request somebody find in the evidence a thing that they wanted to know.
Yeah.
And then there was one moment where we had to ask the people, like, to clarify stuff. And we got a letter back from the judge saying they couldn't.
They couldn't clarify.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to talk about?
Yeah, the question was whether or not anybody of the three defendants violated the rules and covenant of the HOA. And so we had to ask them, can we see the rules and covenant of the HOA? And they were like, no.
You're like, it's next to the recipe for concrete. It's
Yeah.
around here somewhere.
So that was that. We had to make a decision based on cobbling together other stuff.
Yeah. So you guys go out to TGI Fridays afterwards? Did you all real bonding experience?
No.
Can you describe the other jurors? Are you allowed to do that?
Sure. That I can remember.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much kinship you get.
White. Hispanic. Black.
All right.
White. Asian.
So Man. Who was more surprised by the verdict, the defense or the plaintiff?
The plaintiff thought they had it in the bag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how could
And
you tell?
Because the lawyer just kept going, fuck.
Wait, really?
Fuck.
Are you serious?
Fuck. And then the woman was like consoling him and like rubbing his arm. And so
the lawyer?
yeah, because the lawyer was like he was taking it on the chin. Like he really, and he did as good of a job. Well,
I mean, he
I
didn't
don't
have
know-
the
I
recipe
don't-
for
I don't-
concrete
I
or the
don't-
HOA agreement
I
or
don't know-
video proof of the disturbance of the pool party or a reasonable explanation for how bad vibes cracked a pipe.
they had all these videos of this woman proving that they were working early, but it was her driving by the work site and recording out of her window, but nobody was working. There was just like either an open gate or a car.
See, this-
and the first thing I was like, that's illegal. You can't record a video while you're driving a car out of your window. Like, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Like, that's also bad. Oh, also a fun thing about the trespassing. She trespassed on their property.
What?
She thought that they were working.
Yeah.
And so she went to their property to yell at them for working too early. And then she got yelled at. And then she was like, fuck it, I'm hiring a lawyer.
Why did she get yelled at?
Probably because she was screaming at a bunch of fucking construction workers and
On the property while
do you think that a
trespassing.
bunch of construction workers are going to react when you show up at 6:30 in the morning and start yelling at them?
Yeah. Okay. See, and this is one of those, like, I mean, I hate to say it, but it sounds like these were a lot of critical fumbles in the production department. Like, it sounds like like, for example, if the case you want to make is some very loud, disruptive music, probably a very far away video of people standing around not disturbing the peace is not going to make a very compelling argument for it.
And they didn't even have that. All the video that she had of the music, she was recording it against her wall of her patio. And you could like barely hear the Tejano music over the cicadas. The cicadas were way louder than the Tejano music.
Yeah.
But you didn't have a
I mean,
video of
to
her.
be fair, if they were if anything was louder than the cicadas, then that
was
would be
pretty loud, yeah.
then that would be criminal trespassing, and
Yeah.
they should all go to jail.
Yeah, so we found out after the case that there had been an injunction. We knew that there had been an injunction on both sides, that the construction company had to keep to the hours and that she had to not record them or take pictures or trespass. And that we found out after the case that the judge had ruled that the construction company violated that injunction. We don't know.
Okay.
Because we have no idea what they ruled.
Oh, that's a weird part of this is all the you're not allowed to know
Yes.
and you can't ask questions
Yeah.
and it's like you just have to get talked at. That's weird.
we were instructed to forget that she hates Mexican music. We were told that was stricken from the record and we could not.
I always wonder about that part of the TV shows where it's just like forget that. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think it works like that.
Yeah, so that was, I think that's why they were so confident, because they had already been to a judge. A judge had decided that the people had violated the stuff. Well, we then also found out, to your HOA point, that was initially one lawsuit and that it was split because
she was suing everybody. They're suing everybody up there.
but it was going to be one thing.
yeah.
At which point they probably should have done it, because then the general contractor would have started blaming the HOA and she would have blamed the HOA
Yeah.
and blamed both of them, and they would have started pointing fingers at each other. And at least then you're like, all right, well, somebody fucked up. And
Yeah.
you probably would have awarded or something. But at some point, and we kind of found out afterward that it was not the lawyer that tried this case, but another lawyer decided that it should be 2 cases.
Oh, geez.
And
double the fees. I think maybe 5 cases.
Exactly,
20 cases. The more, the better.
Yeah. And so I think they did not realize how unsympathetic she was going to come off. Yeah.
So they just tried to demonize the other party specifically for being carpetbagging Californian.
No.
Or
No,
she's from California. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then that's strike one.
There was a group text where everybody's numbers were listed, and I definitely recognized the Napa area code.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Were you told to disregard that?
No.
As evidence?
No, that was we were made aware that she used to own with her ex-husband, for which there was a tumultuous divorce, a winery in, well, they just said a winery, and then I put it together with the Napa area code.
Okay, wait. How does that come up? It's like, just so you guys know, she has a winery and she's divorced and she lives alone.
When you are painting somebody as sympathetic.
Oh my God. You explained the tragic. We've all been there. You've got a winery. Everything's fine. And then you get a divorce. You have to sell the winery. It's clear who the victim is, unlike these fat cats who are
Basically.
digging holes.
Yeah.
Everyone knows hole diggers sitting up on their ivory towers. They're probably married and have multiple wineries.
Brian, it sounds like you're very angry.
Like, I didn't have to sit there. I didn't have to commute. I didn't have to drive downtown. What was that like? Traffic?
True hell.
Yeah.
True hell. I mean, again, but it's like, what again? Everybody does it except for me and you. So,
Yeah.
like, you know, yeah, no, it sucks. It sucks. Have a job where you don't do that because it was bad. It was bad to do, especially when people yell at you for being late, which I was once.
Oh, did they yell at you for being late?
No, thankfully another dude was later. But
Oh, it's like the vaccine where you're like, yeah.
yeah, all you have to be is the second slowest guy escaping a bear and the second latest dude at jury duty, and everybody will be less mad at you.
Wait, how do they yell? What do they threaten to do?
They just make it very clear that this only starts when everybody's here.
Yeah.
So you are holding up. If you're mad about the time that you're spending here,
Then
you
you're
are
part of the
dragging.
problem.
You are
Yeah.
dragging it on if you do not show up on time. Yeah, they really, I don't know, because that's the other thing. If you're gonna go halfway, I don't want a backseat lawyer. Although I did,
Okay.
Although I did
Tell
realize,
me you didn't just believe. You like. I bet you had notes for you yourself have been the adjudicator for many an argument that like, to be honest, if I was going to request any representation, I would not go to a lawyer. I would go to the law offices of Justin, Robert, and Young.
Yep.
You got notes? Give me a little backseat lawyer in.
I now understand Stephen A. Smith, who you know from watching Silently on television.
He's the passionate black man.
Passionate black man. He has famously said that he would have won the O.J. Simpson trial. I now understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
Having watched, like, being somebody who talks for a living and is used to making arguments so you can prove your point in a theatrical
Which
setting.
quite literally you do all day, every day.
It's what I do.
Professionally.
Professionally.
And you know what? In the court of public opinion, which last time I checked, you have to be better.
Yeah.
That is what in financial terms they call an efficient market.
Yes.
It's like the stock market. All of you lazy lawyers. That's right. I called you lawyer. You know what?
Strike that from the record.
Yeah,
Forget
strike that from the record.
Yeah.
Forget I said that. If you only have 12 data points that you have to flip, you get to be an inefficient market. But when you have thousands of data points, you better be laser focused in your
If
arguments.
I were her lawyer, and this is where I don't know the internals of like when you're crafting a case, somebody's paying for it. So you can't just do whatever you want. You got to bring them on board for the kind of story you want to tell. But if you want to tell a story of a divorcee, a lonely, sad divorcee that all of a sudden had her one sanctum, her one piece of paradise.
Did they try to pitch it that way?
If it were me, and again, you never know because she's paying for it, but I'd be like, look, lady, we got to make you kind of a sad loser.
Yeah.
I
thought they did. They didn't?
Well, I mean, they said that she was a divorcee.
Yeah.
They said she lived alone.
Yeah.
And then they called 4 of her friends to the witness stand
And
to talk about how great
parties
she
were
is.
ruined. Oh my God.
And it was like, it's like, no, you got to be like, because there were some hints around the edges that she didn't have a good relationship with her son and stuff like that. And it's like, no, I would go all in with that. I'd be like, look, this woman is lonely.
yeah.
She has an ailing father that she's gone back and forth with. She doesn't have a relationship with her son. Her marriage fell apart. And she now has one thing in life, her house. And she is hopefully going to come out of this. She's going to come out of this coma as somebody, this social coma, as somebody that is, going to be ready to face the world. And maybe if this were to happen, all of this were to happen in a different phase of her life, then maybe she would have handled it better. Maybe we wouldn't be here right now. But the fact is that they did cross the line. They did violate these rules. And the damages that were done to this woman are incalculable because she went for 3 years being hounded and tortured by this sound, by this vibration. And she's now out tens of thousands of dollars because it damaged her house. It's like, I would play up, this is Grey Gardens. Like, she is
What is
a
Grey Gardens?
delusional. It's, anyway, Google it. She's a delusional old woman who was picked on by
Even if
these
she's
sects.
crazy and going crazy and haunted more by her own ghosts than by the bad
But at
vibes.
least you're sympathetic,
right.
then.
Exactly. But it's like it's still a fact. Like if anything, that's why we have rules like the HOA.
Yes.
And that's why it's important that you abide by them. And whether she deserves this or not, that's they definitely violated it. And clearly she's so crazy that she's suing.
And then you bring on people and you're like, you don't just ask them because they kept going back and forth. They were very wounded by the fact that the defense called her a bully initially. And that she was the real bully. And so the plaintiff kept calling people and they're like, is she a bully? And it's like, no, oh my God, no, she's not a bully, blah, blah, blah. What they should have been asking all these people that knew her is like, how much time does she spend alone? Does she have a lot of friends? Would you describe her as somebody who's very popular? Or like when they kept saying this pool party, like, oh, you ruined something. No, play up the fact that it's kind of sad that she has one friend that came over.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know if it's true. Maybe she's the most lavish ballin' lady of all time. But you're trying to win a lawsuit and just being a rich woman in a multi-million-dollar house while somebody is building a bigger, more multi-million-dollar house is not sympathetic.
They probably had the upper hand if it came to just the facts of the case, because I'm going to bet that they didn't make up that they did it outside of the hours. Like, just stick to those facts.
But the problem is that you have to prove it. And they didn't have any proof.
You couldn't be bothered to turn on a recorder?
What I suspect is that working outside of hours was pulling up to the job site.
So technically not working, but you make noise as you show up.
According
Probably
to the
playing some variety of music.
well, but that's the other side of it, is that it's like her other complaint was it took 3 years. And it's like, hey, guess what makes the job go faster?
Yeah,
Having
more hours.
everybody on site.
Yeah.
So the second they're allowed to go.
Well, and also I believe I mean, yes, 3 years was probably very annoying, but last time I checked, infinite years are legal and per the HOA during those hours.
It's their land.
Yeah.
They bought the land.
Yeah.
They built on it. And look, it was a gigantic house. We were told that all told, before buying the land and developing the land, it was $12 million. So we can assume that they attempted to sell the house for something that would make them a profit.
Mm-hmm.
So we can take a wild guess as to how much the house
More?
sold for, right? But yeah, it sucks. But ultimately, the case they put to the jury was, isn't it awful this woman was inconvenienced? And they were never really able to prove that the damages happened. The damages were the big thing.
Yeah.
In my mind. It's like, prove that the damages happened. I don't care how sympathetic she is. She should get money. They weren't able to do that. And then after that, they kept leaning on the inconvenience. And I'm like, you live in a multi-million-dollar house. I'm inconvenienced now.
Yeah, that probably didn't enter the calculus of that seems like a problem with the jury selection. They had an opportunity to tell the podcaster, like they said yes to you.
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing, is I don't know who brought me on. I don't know who was like,
But both parties have to co-sign on you,
both
right?
parties have to be okay with it. There was one dude who was sitting next to me in the jury selection that actually put in bathrooms. He was
For a
like,
living?
yeah, and I'm assuming he's a Mexican dude. And they were like, in the jury room, people were like, oh, I wonder why they didn't put the contractor on the jury. And I'm like, because this case is swayed on how loud Tejano music was being played and whether or not you should be sympathetic to the person complaining about it. And I'm going to take a wild guess what side of the argument that dude is on.
Yeah.
It's on the guy who's playing it off his iPhones.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Like that's the reality of it. So,
See that? Oh man, that sucks though, because like that's a bold, big called shot to sue and to go for sympathy, and then now she lost and she has to go back to her house next to the giant.
it's finished.
Symbol.
I don't know. Well, and really, to be totally honest, after all of it, what I really think kind of ramped everything up was there was a point where the contractor tried to make peace after she went over there and had the altercation with the construction workers where they yelled at her. Oh, this was also unsympathetic. She gets texted by the HOA and she's like, hey, the general contractor would like to speak to you to smooth all this over. Would you be open to having a conversation? And she says, I am not there at this point. I went over there and I thought that they would apologize for working early. And instead they yelled at me and they said I was a bad neighbor, blah, 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 blah. Then the general contractor on the group chat goes, I am okay to do anything that's reasonable, blah, 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 blah. She testifies, the woman testifies that she felt that was entrapment.
Entrapment?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Wait, entrapment would mean that she would be doing something. What does she think the word entrapment means?
She thought she was being trapped by the HOA by having what she thought was a private text message suddenly be expanded to include the man that has been torturing her this entire time.
Oh, and so
She doesn't
felt
understand
like,
what she doesn't understand what a group chat is. That's what it boiled down to for me, is that she didn't really understand what group chats were, and so she just saw one guy's text and was like, "Oh, okay, I'm texting this one guy," and then all of a sudden the contractor showed up and she's like, "Ah, what are you doing here?" So that was less than sympathetic. That like the contractor tried to reach out to settle things. And she was like, absolutely not. Also, I've hired a lawyer. And then after that, the house that they're building, they get a buyer. But especially when you're at the prices that they're going to have to sell this house at, the buyer has things they'd like while you're still building the house.
yeah, they have notes.
Like, say, for example, you have a classic car collection.
Okay.
You would like a freestanding garage that can hold
Your
8
car
cars.
collection.
Yes, because I'm buying a multi-million-dollar house that is currently being built. And so the freestanding garage had to be pretty close to her property line.
Yeah.
And I think that's where everything got to the fuck
That's
it.
all I can stand.
Chips,
Yeah.
chips all in. That's where the injunction started. And that's where
Man, neighbor beef gets
Oh.
crazy because the emotional doubling down and the backing down and all that stuff. It's and plus, like, she already went through it. I heard she got divorced, lost a winery.
Yeah, I will say I found out later through my own sleuthing that some of the details around that.
Are you allowed? I guess jurors. That's another thing I didn't really think of. Jurors are probably not encouraged to do their own homework.
We were explicitly forbidden from doing our own homework, and so I did not do my own homework until after the case was done.
Mm-hmm. But then some homework became done.
Yes. And I looked up everybody, and I know everything about them now. And so, yeah, they said during the case that the divorce was bad, and that she was kind of licking her wounds about it, and when she bought this house out here in like 2018. But yeah, that's about where the sympathy kind of ended. Mostly because at the end of every sentence that they said, I filled in with, and that's why I need to be here. And every time I filled that part of the sentence in, I was angrier.
I wonder if well, I don't know. I guess the good lawyers probably never forget that jurors have to feel like. I mean, I was joking before. I was like, he's guilty of what? Of keeping me from my gig, you know. But it's astonishing to me that that they expect you to. Why would they let you on the jury? Is what I'm asking. Why would they accept you?
Oh, you want to know what? Somebody else that was on in the jury pool. Nathan, can you look up the director of the movie Mud and the Bike Riders?
Was he on the jury with you?
So in the jury pool, in the jury selection.
Yeah. This is on that first day.
This is on Monday. They're going through and all the lawyers know what's on our questionnaires that we filled out before we showed up. And so he knows our names because they give us numbers. So he knows our names, he knows our professions, and blah, blah, blah. And so they're asking us questions about various different things. And they ask a question about HOAs, what we feel about HOAs. And so I'm like, all right, I'm trying to get disqualified off this fucking jury. And so I'm like, well, HOAs, man, I hate them. And also my mom's been on one, so I know how hard it is. But everybody on the HOA sniped at her. So boy, do I hate HOAs. Boy, are HOAs shitty. And the lawyer for the plaintiff goes, Justin Young, you're a writer. And I go, well, like, I say writer because I don't want to explain what a podcast is. But mostly I'm a podcast. I write the podcast.
Now,
but
okay, yeah, that sounds like a gambit that you're trying.
I did not realize I was going to be questioned by a lawyer about what I wrote on the fucking thing. Like that's just a reflexive thing when if I'm at the doctor or if I'm at anywhere where I want to avoid a conversation about podcasts.
Kind of like how Bryce would always say his order was for Tony because people don't ask you to spell Tony.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly. Right. So I just always write writer. So I was not expecting it. And so he's like, I'm like, yeah, I'm a podcaster. I do podcasts. And he's like, wow, well, you should have written that. Like, I'm like, oh, I guess. All right. We're in a post Joe Rogan world where people think of podcaster men as somebody that is like not a thing that you need to ask a million questions about. So maybe I should write podcaster from here on out.
You just write down, I'm Joe Rogan.
Yes.
So I'm a professional Joe Rogan.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you. So you said here you're a poor Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Timu Joe Rogan.
It says here, I'm a Rush Limbaugh. I'm a tiny Rush Limbaugh.
So then the guy goes, well, you're a writer. We have another writer here. And he points to this guy.
This is one
Jeff
of the
Nichols.
lawyers?
The lawyers. What's his name?
Jeff Nichols.
Jeff Nichols.
Okay.
He's like
Is there like a friendly party vibe happening during jury selection?
they're all trying to be like speed dating friendly. They're all the lawyers are making their first impressions.
Yeah.
So they want to be like, hey man, I'm on your side. I'm just talking to you. Like, we're just trying to decide, man. Totally chill, super cool. Like, I get it, man. Jury duty, am I right? Like, and so he's like, oh, you know, we got writers here. We had a bunch of people that do bands. One of the guys
Like,
that was,
it's cool to be in a jury. Everyone loves it.
but he's like, oh, we got another writer here, and he points out Jeff Nichols, and Jeff Nichols.
Do you recognize him? Or?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't. But it was very funny that he also lied about his real job because by saying he was a writer because he didn't want to say
I'm a little Steven
famous
Spielberg.
director.
I'm a tiny Steven
Yes.
Spielberg. Who loves Rush Limbaugh's.
Yeah, so I said writer because I wanted to lie about being a podcaster, and he said writer because he wanted to lie about being a director. But
So did he end up, how did he get out? The guy didn't like mud?
yeah,
He was like, mud, huh? Yeah, Your Honor, this one's out.
yeah, I'm not a McConaughey fan. What can I say? I
Yeah.
don't know. Liked him better as a rom-com.
I
Yeah.
like the movie with the short people in it.
Why would you name the movie The Bike Riders? They're about bikers. Name it Chrome and Steel. Why does it name it like Lance Armstrong's Facebook group? Yeah. So yeah, he got dismissed. I don't know. I should have figured it out from him, Jeff Nichols.
Yeah.
I thought he was famous screenwriter Mike Nichols' son, and then I looked it up, and he wasn't. He's just a dude.
Same last name.
Yeah, yeah. He made Take Shelter with Michael Shannon, and yeah, he's like a big director.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Apparently a writer, too.
and a writer, and we came very close to being jury brothers. I would have asked him a million questions about why he called a badass biker movie The Bike Riders. And I know his answer would have been, well, because the book I based it off is called The Bike Riders, to
He's
which
like,
I would have said, try harder. That's ridiculous.
Do better.
I watched that trailer and I was like, this is a badass biker movie with Tom Hardy. This is
People
awesome.
who ride the bikes.
Exactly.
Go, bike, go.
I think
Hooray,
I think
two
it was during
wheels.
Dune. I think we actually watched it together, and I was sitting next to you when it was like we're here together. Pshaw, they're throwing Molotov cocktails. You're like, fuck, this movie's awesome. It's like 1950s fucking greaser shit, and they're like beating up people with chains, and it's like,
The
Tom
bike
Hardy,
riders.
and he's like,
Yeah. I do remember this now.
we
Yeah.
ride forever. The Bike Riders. And you're like, fuck you. You should all be.
The bike riders. Whee!
It's just a sound effect of a fucking playing card going through spokes.
Through the spokes.
Anyway, he avoided it. Otherwise, this would be a better story.
Man. Yeah, you guys, the case listeners would be the next, the follow up, not the jurors.
But there we go. That's all the deets. It was a frustrating time, and I apologize that the Bones was late.
Oh no!
But,
I was glad we did it at all. That was a nice that was a treat.
I don't like not giving the people what they expect, though. Because
Yeah, but you know what everyone's asking is the Bones. What are those, and how can I listen to them?
Indeed. Great. Patreon.com/great night is where you need to go. Get your fix. An episode where Brian and I just chop it up.
Yeah, where we name names.
Oh yeah. Also, I named all the names.
Okay, I didn't know
Yeah.
if I said those words, and I was like, "Could I take that back?" And then,
Yeah.
and then you double down.
Yeah,
so
no,
now
I'm
it's
not.
okay.
Yeah, we didn't want to say it in the free show, but if you want to hear the names,
He names names.
and I'll say everybody involved has a profile.
Everybody's rich and famous.
The general contractor is a former football player, and the guy who bought the land is a very famous and rich in the tattoo community.
Oh,
So if you're interested in either
tattoos.
college football or tattoos,
Yeah.
or Cabernet Sauvignons,
Or
you
divorce.
then you should get the bones because you might know some of the people that were involved in this trial.
Out there's like one
Hook 'em
divorcee. Shit. Wow, we went long. Wow, that
Yeah.
was a hell of a tale.
It was a tale to be told.
What did we learn?
We wrapping it up?
I
Are we
got,
already there?
I mean, we went. How long has it been? No, it's only been like an hour and 10, right?
Hey, what do we at? Do we know?
1 hour, 5 minutes.
1 hour 5.
We can do something that isn't just my indulgent bullshit.
No, are you kidding me? This is a fucking rivet. Dude, you invested a week. You bothered to go have this shitty week so that we could talk and get a whole episode out of it. I'm glad we extracted all the... I didn't realize how many questions I had. How much was a mystery to me.
I'm trying to think if there was anything else that was interesting. By far the funniest was the defense lawyer accusing her of hating Mexican music.
That was a bold move. That was a bold play.
It was so good. You've never just the idea of like if you want to frustrate two liberal white people, just insinuate that they're racist.
Yeah.
Just like like they both stood up like they were electrified. It was fucking the funniest shit
That's
ever.
amazing.
Yeah. Trying to think of anybody else in the jury. They were all nice. In the moment, I was frustrated that people thought it was like the fucking Dred Scott decision. But like, also, I got out. I guess I was mostly preloading my anger if it pushed us into another day.
That would have been bad. How many days was the whole experience?
Jury selection Monday, and then it was 9 to 5 Tuesday through Friday.
Oof. 9 to 5. Square in the middle of commute times. Just...
I mean, so a few of the days were 10, but still, yeah, it was, and like my commute wasn't even bad. Like my commute was basically like 35 minutes at worst.
Yeah, but what, to go like 3 miles? I mean, like
6 miles from my house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a long time to go. A short time. That's a long time to go,
And a short way to get there.
Short
Yeah.
distance to get there. That's some bullshit, is what that is.
I mean, it is. It is. I'm not saying, trust me. In fact, I sent you a video of me.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to describe
Oh
the
yeah.
video?
Right? I could play the audio of it. Here we go. In fact, what's funny is I've heard people say that the two of us sound alike. We sound a lot alike.
When this is being said.
Yeah. I actually...
Just sitting in traffic,
Sliding doors all over.
just commuting.
Your next podcast is
What a fun thing to do. Just to commute. Boy, am I commuting. Fucking great. Love it, dude. Love it. Worked my whole goddamn life to see this.
And I guess it didn't save. It didn't
I can
save the
tell
audio
you.
thing.
I can tell you that it was Turner Bachman Overdrive's taking care of business. That Brian sends an unremarked upon just and you work it hard, you can get to work by night. Taking care of business every day. Taking care of business.
Actually, if I remember correctly, I got the whole opening about like doing the commute and getting jostled around or whatever, and I intentionally like right in like because I'm, and I was like, nope. you get nothing but cock teased, my friend. No release.
Yeah, I mean, look,
is that song about jerking off?
taking care of business?
Yeah.
Can we get the lyrics?
Yeah, yeah. Here, let's engage in some copyright violation because, like, if you listen to it, it sounds an awful lot like taking. Hey, Monaruga's life, taking care of business. There you go. Here we go. All right. So I'm gonna talk over this a little
Yeah,
bit.
hold on, wait, no, pause it so I can bring up the lyrics.
Okay, well, don't worry. It's from the 1970s, so you
Oh,
got about
yeah.
20 minutes before the lyrics show up. Because we have to tell you all about. And another thing in Vietnam happened. And I think some prisoners of war are a thing.
Walter Cronkite, old as hell.
All right. Okay, so this is about like
Yeah.
the regular working stiffs who actually go.
Pushing people, shoving, and the girls who try to look pretty.
Right, okay.
If your train's on time, you can get to work by 9.
That's the part I was thinking of.
And if you start to get your pay.
But then he says, I'm not like
if
those
you
guys.
ever get annoyed, look at me. I'm self-employed.
See?
I love to work at nothing all day.
Right.
Oh, gotcha.
Like he's fucking jerking off all day.
Yeah.
Every way.
Oh, I didn't realize what a dick you were being. I didn't realize the depths of your insult until
I thought it was
right now.
it was pretty
reading
good.
these lyrics. You're a real piece of shit.
No, I was trolling.
You were being,
I-
no, yeah. Hey, you want to know what? Fuck you.
Yeah, oh, sorry. Wah, wah, drink it up with the jury. Let's impel a bunch of chat realmers.
Yeah. I would say, like, back before work from home became a broad thing.
Mm-hmm.
By that I mean a lot of women
bunch
do
of
it.
dames. But back when working at home was a bunch of Tupperware and Avon parties, a bunch of broads.
Any dude who worked from home. In fact, I think there's a Mitchell and Webb sketch about this.
Yeah.
Where a guy's like, "Oh, I've been working from home lately," and he's like, "Oh, jerking off." That's it. So yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I think that song is about whacking it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe that was implied. A lot of layers back when you
Like
could
an
only...
onion,
Yeah.
like an onion jerking off.
Just jerking off an onion.
Yeah.
Squeeze it. You're crying. You're crying while you're jerking.
It's like jerking off an onion. Sorry, that's my fucking James Bond doing a southern accent. This is me doing an impression of James Bond doing a
From Glass
southern
Onion.
accent from
Glass onion.
Glass Onion. Yeah. A Knives Out mystery.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
jerking and crying like you're watching the naked people in Schindler's List.
What the fuck?
There we go, because it's a
Jerking
sad
and
movie.
crying, but it's hot.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You're the one.
Settle down, Kanye.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, damn it. Checkmate. Nah. Well, I think she was guilty. Did you shout guilty?
I didn't. No, I didn't shout guilty.
Did he have to bang his hammer?
Who, Maxwell?
Yes. Make them dead upon their head.
I don't know if the judge banged her gavel once.
Oh, well, then that means y'all weren't rowdy enough. It's like you got to test a teacher.
I know.
See, say,
That dude should have been like, she hates Mexicans. A lowrider would have went off.
yeah. Man, I would like. I want the jury to
Would have
react
been
like
in a
it's
fucking Modelo commercial with the song from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly in the background. When you're a lawyer accusing a white lady of being racist, you work up a powerful thirst. Modelo.
with electrolytes.
Don't you know I'm crazy?
God, see, do you think the jury?
Yes.
How bad? How bad could
That was the other thing. Everybody, I was mad the whole fucking week. I'm calling my friends and I'm bitching about how like mad I am and how annoyed I am and I'm frustrated. I have to tell so many people that I know and respect that I'm working with because all my fucking co-business owners and people that are in my life are my friends. And I'm like, Brian, sorry, man, I can't do this for the bones. And to a man and woman, everybody that I tell, the first thing they go is like, so you're telling me jury's on a jury?
very clever?
And
Very clever.
I'm like, yeah, jury.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Jury's on a jury, huh? It's like, yeah, okay. Well, at least you're not mad. right. I'll just be mad at these people.
Yeah.
Which I was.
Man, I wish the jury had been like doing prison rules where it's like they come out swinging. I want to believe that you guys were reacting like it was Russell Simmons' Def Jam the whole time, and the judge was constantly,
Sandman?
yeah. And the judge is constantly like, order in the court. Did they ever say order?
Can I tell you this? It was weird to not clap.
I was gonna. I almost made a joke about that.
No, I mean, like, because it's all these little performances.
Yeah, they're literally performing for you.
In a
They're
small
having a
venue,
storytelling contest.
In a small venue where you're the audience.
Yeah.
And I've just been conditioned watching too many fucking magicians.
Yeah, it's good to clap.
Where it's like you need to clap because
Somebody needs to.
Especially if you're in a group with a lot of magicians, half of them are not going to clap because they're socially maladjusted fucking weirdos.
Yeah.
And so like you're used to just being like,
Yeah.
let's show our
Well,
recognition.
it's like automatic, like you're at a coffee shop and then somebody solo acoustic. You don't hear any of the song, but you do hear, and then you hear the silence, and then without breaking your conversation, you know to be the first, right?
You're not allowed to do that.
Did they say you're not allowed to do that?
It was socially
Is there anywhere
understood
in the rule book that says
you can't clap?
that says the jury can't clap?
I did try to make animated facial gestures with things that I thought were absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, okay. Now, what is the game theory on telegraphing your displeasure or annoyance? Like, you want them to change tax? You're just like, you're like,
Oh, no. So first things first, I made,
you're like, more, yes.
I made a conscious decision that I would not restrict my laughter. If
Okay.
I found something funny, I would laugh as hard as I would laugh normally. And you know me, you spent enough time around me.
Yeah, you've got a bark.
My sense of humor is also very tuned to the awkward.
Yes.
Like I find awkward things very, very funny. So like,
Yeah.
the guy saying like this woman hates Mexican music
Yeah,
and then being
like,
like, ah! I'm dying.
Yes.
Like, I was like just like falling out of my seat. I thought it was so funny. There were a few moments. One of them was they played a video of the deposition of one of the guys that was on the site when she came over and yelled at them. And they ask all the deposition witnesses, what's your name? Says his name.
Oh, so this is okay. This is okay. If it's just a deposition, I assume it's very dry. I would love to believe that it's like a fucking campaign ad where it's just like, and now we have a message from one of the people, and it's like an eagle and flag.
Dude, no. Imagine a guy who runs construction equipment
Yeah,
in a lawyer's office.
yeah,
He does not want to be there.
yeah.
He's asked his name. He says his name. They ask him where he lives. He goes, thinks about it for a beat and goes, an RV.
Oh, wow. Now that's the sympathetic character.
And then they go, where's the RV? And he's like, oh, Round Rock.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I died laughing. Just the comedic timing of like, where do you live? An RV.
That authentic,
Amazing.
taste.
And then there was the plumber, the guy from the plumbing company, did his entire deposition. He had this look. It was like the low angle of a laptop.
Oh, that's bad.
But he was a man of stature.
Sure.
Big beard.
Most importantly, any kind of like, that's a primal thing. That gesture of like showing your neck, of looking down one's nose, that is a sign of I am so superior to you.
Okay, yeah, but he wasn't. He was like up profile. I think because he knew his laptop was low, so he didn't want to look down.
Yeah.
So he was kind of like artificially putting his chin up.
Yeah.
And his Zoom background was an iguana.
Oh, so he had a virtual background.
Yes.
Do you get, I guess you do have that at your discretion, just like you get to decide how you're going to dress.
Yep.
Omar puts on a tie.
Yep. I found that really funny. Things I found funny. Those things.
That's it. What about being there? Not funny.
Nah,
Less funny.
No.
The commute? Less funny.
Facial expression. So there was a moment during the plaintiff's closing argument where he said, my client made every effort to settle this outside of court. But in evidence, they had already shown, and she had testified that in a group chat to head this off at the pass, she thought it was fucking entrapment because she's delusional.
Right.
And I was like, that was my thought, right? What I just said is what's happening in my head. And if you can go to my single here, this is what the lawyer saw.
Suck it, audio. Ha! Got you again. Eat shit, audio. Suck it. Nobody will know what Justin just did. Oh.
YouTube.com/MonoRogue.
That's right. Yeah, dude. Well, first of all, you're a fucking hero. If nobody did,
Thank
did anybody
Thank
clap
you.
for you? Did anybody say you're the true social justice warrior?
No. No, Brian. They didn't.
You're the real hero. You're both the victim and the hero.
I'm here to say also that the Travis County courthouse has a Veracruz, which is nice.
what's a
Veracruz is good tacos.
Oh,
if you ain't
that's
never-
right. I was about to
yeah.
say, are you talking about the taco place?
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. They have a Veracruz in the lobby.
Is it a nice building?
They knew.
Oh.
It's great.
Who do you think comes out? Who do you think is happier, plaintiffs or defendants, with the nice new building? Like, which do you think having a shitty venue favors?
I don't think either. Mostly because what I realized afterward, we went to go talk to the lawyers afterward because the judge encouraged us to.
What? Okay, now why structurally? Why that part?
Why did I do it, or
No.
why does it happen?
Why would they encourage you to talk to the lawyers?
Because judges are former lawyers, so they are the experience of being a lawyer, and they were like,
be a cool bro. Explain to them what they did wrong.
basically,
Yeah,
they're
got
like, this is the most informative thing that you could possibly do. But I also realized in that moment, I've known many lawyers that are people that I knew growing up, that or in college or whatever, that went on to be lawyers. That they don't have a good life.
Yeah.
Like they have a bad job that universally, unless you are like a competition sociopath, it's hard to live a lawyer's life because you got to make moral compromises all the time. It's hard to say like, oh, I love what I do every single day. It's a reason why lawyers have extravagant hobbies, because that's the way they justify waking up every day.
It's the reason they all do cocaine. Every lawyer, mark my word, lawyers, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Every lawyer who's ever lived is always on cocaine at all times. And that is a fact devoid of any exaggeration or irony. Take it from this comedy podcast.
Ignoring everything that Brian said and going back to my point about extravagant hobbies, the actual lawyer in this case for the plaintiff made part of his closing argument that he races his classic cars at Circuit of the Americas.
That was part of his closing arguments. These are the people who want to be relatable
Yes.
to the jury,
Yes.
who had to stop working their fucking jobs that
Yep.
pay them what they're working over. Okay.
Yeah. But
Did you bring that part up? Like pro tip? Maybe that Circuit
He
of the
was
Americas
still-
story
no.
not as approachable.
again, the horse was already
Yeah.
Horseman Elliott was way in the background. He was hundreds
Horseman
of
Elliott was
miles-
on the case.
He was
He's-
hundreds of miles behind by the time that this happened. And I mostly just said, I was assuming, I made assumptions that this lady is not the easiest client to work with. She might be a...
So he was the sympathetic character.
I told him that I think my assumption, I don't know, maybe he made all these decisions without her, and she's the most sympathetic person. My guess was she's a bit of a handful, and that he did the best he could with the hand he was dealt. And so like, but he was very surprised. And so he was like, I came over to him and I said, hey man, you did a great job. And he goes like, so what didn't you find sympathetic about meh, meh, meh? And I'm like, everything.
So you showed him the respect by just flatly telling him
Yes.
the truth,
Yeah.
which was nothing about her
I
was
am mad. I was mad. I felt this was a frivolous lawsuit and you wasted an entire week of my life. And I'm like, I can't even say the things that I was like approving cuts of in the middle of it, but it's like a pretty big deal, like that I wasn't able to be along with. I couldn't do an episode of PX3. Your schedule gets fucked up. Like I was inconveniencing a lot of people, and
and it was for
it
this.
was for this, and it was something that I like within. Like in the opening arguments, they're like, we're gonna prove that they fucked up her house, and I'm like, okay, pretty high burden of proof in my opinion, because everything else I heard was bullshit.
Oh, that's right, because they even called their shot at the
Yeah.
beginning of the storytelling contest.
Yeah, and then they didn't, and then they mostly were just mad that like the defense hired a dude that was better prepared than their dude, and was more convincing that rock chipping doesn't.
Bad vibes.
Yeah, like they kept hanging on the idea that like, oh, she felt vibrations.
Oh, they did say the vibrations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, inside her house, she felt them. That's like, yeah, they were chipping limestone.
Yeah. Limestone, it's a
con-
rock.
it's
It'll
construction.
Yeah.
They were building a huge house.
Yeah.
She'll deal with it once.
Yeah, well, 3 years is long. Look, I feel
was
like
a long
I feel
time,
like
yeah.
they could have won this. They feel it sounds like they had enough going.
No, the problem was it's like if you don't have actual property damage, it's hard to be like, yo, there was a long construction. Ain't illegal. It's annoying.
Yeah.
If you got 12 people together and said that they should give her a fruit
Did
basket.
she take the stand?
She did. She led their case. And it was not good for them.
Talk me through that.
Well, again, she mostly just kept complaining about how long and loud it was during the time that they were allowed to work. But it's like, if your case is my house got damaged and they worked outside of hours.
Yeah. Then there are two things I better be hearing about.
Yes.
Three things if you count taking care of business.
Yeah. And it's like, so again, I would not like to be in that scenario. I would like to own a $3 million house. So
Yeah,
if
if I had to give up a winery.
If I say, like, would I like to live through a 3-year construction, but I get to own a $3 million house? Yeah, I think I'll grin and bear it.
Yeah.
I think I'll just, figure out a way to not be around as much as I can, or I'll make friends with the people that are doing it and see whatever that can happen that wouldn't do it. I just, it was kind of, and then she got into her whole thing about her pool party, and the pool party was 2 people, and then she was like very like dialed into this idea that they were maliciously being louder to upset her.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, come on, man. For real?
I mean,
Bruh.
But also, it's
Bruh.
like, I don't know, give it the benefit of the doubt. I mean, that is something that a bunch of construction people I could see doing is like, hey, fuck with this lady. But in that case, get some receipts, man.
Yeah, prove any of it.
Yeah.
At all, at any point. And instead it was just like, oh, did you feel the vibrations? Dog sitter. Yes. Is she a bully? No. Is she a great woman? Yes. Like, do you think that they were loud?
Nah.
Yes. I don't know.
Yeah.
She seemed nice enough. I'm sure if she were my neighbor, I'd be like, oh, that's really cool. I bet you have a lot of takes on cool wines. Like, I don't know. I would assume I would like her if I just ran into her. She didn't like. I could tell why there were a bunch of people in the neighborhood that liked her.
Yeah.
I didn't like her in the moment.
Yeah.
Because she was ruining my week.
Yeah. Boy, that's you would think that they'd remain aware at all times of what a.
But I think
What
when
an
you
uphill
get
battle.
so fired, I mean, like, again, when these are all millionaires that are dealing with this, so they got money to burn to prove that they're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you watched any more of the studio?
No, I'm stalled out. I need to get back to it. Although, yeah.
There's an awards
Okay.
episode
All right.
where a starlet who has been feigning that she doesn't care about these
And of course.
awards breaks down and she's like, "Look, I'm already rich. I'm already famous. This is all I have."
Yeah.
And it's like, when you're already rich,
And you're
like
already
now-
divorced.
Yeah, now it's like, all right, fuck these people. These people are trying to fuck with my life. Like, I will spend more than I would make. Like, the threshold of I'll just eat this, whatever, goes out the window when everybody's got money and they're used to getting their way. And that's what I wound up punishing her because she brought the fucking case that it's like, don't involve me.
Yeah.
Go to rich people court. Trial by combat.
Well, which they literally have. You get a fucking not an adjudicator. What do they call it? Arbiter. You
Where
go
do
to
they-
arbitration.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking have that's rich people court.
Go to the
you
Soho-
pay somebody.
Go to the Soho House.
Yeah.
Find Matthew McConaughey, the fucking
Lincoln
writer of
lawyer.
Mud was there.
Yeah.
Like, just be like hire McConaughey. McConaughey will hear everything. He'll make a decision, and then you just agree to abide by it. You can pay McConaughey.
Yeah.
Like, or hire me for rich people court.
You could have just skipped that. You could have gotten the same judgment from Justin.
the jury.
Only he would have been much happier.
If you
would have been thrilled.
If you would have paid my rate.
Yeah.
If you would have
This
paid my
all
rate.
would have been different
Oh.
if you. Why do we need to pitch rich people court
Rich people court is a
featuring jury?
binding arbitration,
Yeah, it's a
private
service.
arbitration, but you do it.
And then we could do make it a show.
No.
So
we
these
needed-
people are rich.
So, yeah.
There
we go.
They've got problems, and they've agreed to settle their differences here in our forum, Rich People Court. Yeah.
throw money.
Like, let them pick it up.
Real quick before we wrap up the show.
I sentence you to 5 minutes in the money hurricane.
And they're rich, so they don't even grab it.
They're like,
Yeah.
all this money.
This is just a regular hurricane.
Without this trash floating about. Get him off me.
New album from the Callous Cowboys out this Friday. It is called I Don't Want to See You in Heaven, and I am on 2 tracks.
What?
I am the narrator on 2 tracks.
That's amazing.
It is a concept album about the Museum of Failure, and I am the museum guide
That's amazing.
in the Museum of Failure. So make sure you pre-order it on
Callous
Bandcamp.
Cowboys.
Callous Cowboys, which, by the way, is fronted by Carson
Carson
Pace,
Pace.
who OG Diamond Club knows as Tropics, the guy who used to make the remixes for the songs on our albums.
Yeah.
Back in the day. He did that when he was like
A teenager. Yeah.
So now he is in this awesome band. It is heavy metal, but this album it's got layers, it's got range. It is super great. I'm thrilled. I've heard it a bunch of times, and go get it now on Bandcamp and go see them. Their first headlining tour is this summer.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So they just put out the dates today. Go search for it. Callous Cowboys.
Josie stole all of my Callous Cowboys shirt. I bought all the shirts that Josie has stolen, all of them, and modified them all so they all look fabulous.
Yeah.
on her.
On her.
On her. She stole all my old scam school shirts too. All my clothes. Like, she looks fucking great.
Yeah.
Anyway, Callous Cowboys.
She loves her dad
Yeah.
and the Cowboys.
Yeah, mainly.
Mainly the
God
Cowboys.
smiles upon.
Yes,
The Callous
The Callous Cowboys. So anyway, no, go get that. It's awesome. It is truly a great. The one of the singles, Lemon, is amazing, and the song right after that on the album is called Body Horror for Birds, and it's amazing. They're like magnum opus. It's a 12-minute song that spans every genre known to man at the end of the album,
Wow.
called Country Song in Reverse. It's fucking the shit. I'm so proud of all of them. They've been on the Mono Rogue, right?
Yeah. They explained mathcore, and then they've stayed here at HQ a few times.
But yeah, no, they're the shit. They're awesome. Callous Cowboys, I Don't Want to See You in Heaven. Get it this Friday. In fact, I was on the phone with Carson on the way here, and I said, dumb guy question. Didn't albums used to come out on Tuesdays? And he goes, yeah, they did. They changed it when streaming became big. And
then Friday was the big day.
Friday
to
is
stream.
when the streamers update their playlists, which drives discoverability. And I'm like, oh, really? Shit, man, when did that happen? He's like, well, you would have been right until 2015. And I'm like, well, that's embarrassing, and let's change subjects.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, dude.
Are we done?
I think we are.
We are.
Don't. You know what? Go ahead and piss off rich people. Well, I was gonna say we learned don't, but I mean, whatever. They'll just grab more jurists.
Yeah.
Did anyone say jurisprudence?
Nobody.
See, whatever happened to America's courts?
Whatever
It's a kangaroo
happened.
court.
I
What is
know.
this, Australia?
Newsman, the paperboy, even TV.
All right. All right. We love you guys. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Dying of Fire.
Shine on, you crazy diamonds.
It's been a great night.
Diamond Club hopes you've enjoyed this presentation. It's not how I don't. It is how I sound. Kill it.